It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Why, hello, everyone. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, if you are watching us live and in living color, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button. Also, tell a friend and hit the bell notification. That way you'll never miss when we're going live or when we've uploaded a brand new video. And if you haven't scoped out our YouTube channel, take a look at old episodes, interviews from some of your favorite cast members, and our time at Day of Days or at the Daytime Emmys. It's all located on Dishin Days on YouTube. And if you just want to listen to our lovely voices, we're on your favorite podcast station. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. So make sure you type in Dishin Days and follow us on your favorite podcast station and wherever podcasts can be found. Oh, and don't forget to show some love to our former host and my chocolate twin, James Lott Jr., who is serving up a few dishes of his own. That's right, he's got some cups, plates, and spoons for you. Recapping General Hospital, Bold and the Beautiful, and The Young and the Restless. Also serving up some original audio dramas that he created himself. So make sure you go to JLJ Media on YouTube or JLJ Media wherever podcasts can be found, because James Lott Jr. is the only friend that I know that walked hand in hand with Jesus while he was still here. All right, and make sure you tell us your thoughts. Share your thoughts in our, if you're watching us live, in our chat, or make sure you comment below and let us know what you thought. Trust me, we see what you wrote. We may like it. We may reply to it. But the important thing is, it's there. All right, y'all. What do we think of, first of all, this lighting on me is amazing. Kudos to my lighting. What did we think of this week's episodes of Days?
This week was good. It was more of like an info week, I'd say. This week was like an info week. Yeah.
That's not what you said before we logged up.
We said it was okay.
Yeah. I think a lot happened though too. Like, I mean, some stuff did happen. We did get some developments, even if they weren't like big blockbusters, or even if it was some things we maybe thought was going to happen. Yeah, I think some stuff did happen this week, but it's a setup.
Building blocks.
Yeah. I mean, in the words of RuPaul, meh.
It was, that was my expression too. Like, we got every development we got was meh.
Oh, that was good. That was a little better than that, but okay.
Well,
so we will be more interesting this week.
Well, let's see. It's time to break it on down. Let's go. It is now time to start Dishin Days. It was closer. It's all right. I'm gonna set that. Oh, let me turn it over. Set it and forget it. All right, let's start off with our first storyline, which is, who is Janelle?
Chanel and Johnny.
Really?
Their ship name? You don't know.
Is that the ship name?
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh.
I can't wait.
And that okay.
You really said who's? I thought you were joking at first.
That expression should tell should tell you something about Tony's reaction to said storyline this week.
Oh my God.
I don't think I haven't seen it anywhere where it's like Janelle. So when it popped up, I was like, who that? I literally thought you misspelled Janelle. Oh well.
Oh, you
All
thought I
right.
misspelled it too? So first you were like, who's Janelle? Then you thought I misspelled Janelle.
Well,
Oh
it's
God.
happened, y'all.
Yeah, you called it Tony early on.
Yeah.
Um, how do we feel about Chanel's miscarriage?
Um,
I feel like no people are speechless.
Not speechless, but I feel like there so it we there may be a divide in how we're thinking in terms of critiquing it from a storyline perspective and critiquing it from a, if we were in this world with these characters, what would our perspective be on this? It's different things.
I hope that this isn't just the catalyst for these other things that I kind of feel like it's not needed then. Like,
Mhm.
is this just the catalyst to keep Chanel in town, but have Johnny go away for a few months to cover the paternity leave? Is this a catalyst just to give some strife to Paulina and Chanel? And then it's like, well, it's not really, to me, like having a miscarriage for that doesn't seem necessary. Um, I think this is now the second time we've got with this couple, and I think they're a popular couple. I mean, I hope there's something interesting in their future. I would have been fine with them having a baby, not like they earned a baby, but I think they're in a much better place than they were the first time. The devil storyline sort of eclipsed their first relationship with each other. And I think that was fine overall because we still had the alley stuff mixed in there and it was a bit
Mhm.
complicated. Now that's been dealt with, and it's been a couple of years since then. They're back together, they're mature people, we like them. I don't know the reasoning for giving them this type of storyline where they could have given them either a child or they could have given them a child with a disability. That would have been, I think, interesting to show that a young married couple dealing with that. So yeah, I hope whatever is in store for them makes up for this, if that in a weird way, if that makes sense, you know.
Yes. I I'm torn only because as you all know, I'm a fan with open arms, and I'm hoping that this
Mhm.
leads to the bigger picture. This is just a small dot that's connected to something bigger.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But with the information that we have right now, I feel like um, Paulina didn't have to um, have radiation, then
Mhm.
expose Julie, Johnny, and Chanel, to then have Chanel be pregnant, to then um, have a scare with the baby, to then say the baby was fine,
Mhm.
to then say to then have the baby miscarriage, and now Chanel is back upset again with Paulina. I think there's something else that could have happened if they wanted to build some sort of friction between Chanel and Paulina.
Mhm.
I think if Johnny, well, Carson was going to have to leave for a bit,
Mhm.
this could have been just fine to just say, hey, like I have this opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm going to be away for a while. What do you think? And it's like, well, I have sweet bits. Go and chase your dream. And maybe there was a scene with Chanel and Johnny in LA, you know,
Mhm.
something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just, right now, the math isn't mathing as to why we have done those points in the storyline to end up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Um. Yeah, I agree with everything the two of you are saying. Um. this is where my storyline perspective versus my womanly perspective kind of comes into conflict. Well, no, actually, never mind. They'll come on consensus here because storyline wise, we're all saying, what is the point? Mm-hmm. Is this leading to something? Is this a catalyst for something? Because you don't go through a miscarriage and just come out the other side okay. And truth be told, I get really tired of miscarriage storylines just for the sake of a miscarriage storyline. Yeah. Because it is too common. Because 1 in 4 women will go through a miscarriage. It's just the law. It's just the law of averages. So it's almost too common to kind of just stick in there for a plot point and say that they're going to move on and everything's going to be fine, or
sorry, were you go ahead?
No, I go ahead. I'm trying to formulate a thought.
Well, because I'm even sitting here thinking like, okay, if they wanted to do the exposure of radiation, right? Mm-hmm. Then like, I don't know, have a week where everyone was scared and in isolation and very upset with Paulina that she did what she did. Like, can you imagine scenes where like they're all like in isolation, including Paulina, and just that friction that they have like with each other? It's almost like back in the day when I think it was Melanie and Nathan that had something and they had to be isolated. Do y'all remember that story?
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds familiar.
Like, I remember it.
Long time ago.
I tried to block it out.
But like, but even if we just had a week of that, of just like wondering, and then everyone gets cleared, you know what I mean? But if there still just wanted to be some sort of resentment with Chanel and Paulina, there could have been, and then it's that it's that feeling of like, of course, so many characters have had miscarriages and had babies passed and everything like that. But I think we get a little more sensitive when it's the African American characters, only because it's so hard to build their families. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I look at the Green family and it's like they've already kind of built that, right?
Yeah.
But it's like at one point we had great representation, but then like everyone, but it's like, we had that moment of like, oh yay, we get to see this grow, and the baby would be, interracial and see them grow like this family, and then it was like just kind of taken away. Yeah. I try to word that carefully not to make it seem like Days is against African American actors and all that, but it's just
let's be clear, it's not just Days. Soap families in general, in all soap operas, have been historically very careful. Well, not very careful, but very particular with the number of characters of color they have. And it's not to say that it's inherently a negative choice. It's not an inherently intentional choice that we can see, but over time you get the sense of like, oh, they're not building these characters, they're not letting them stay on the canvas, they're not building up the children. One to, it's a ratio, it's one of those, just numbers games, 1 to 4,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
someone I was thinking about too, like someone else brought up, Lonnie and Eli just went through this. Like they have the twins now, but before that they had David and he died. And
yeah, and as terrible as that was, that storyline at the very least had purpose.
Mhm.
Because at the time, that David was not, built out of some great love. He came from a one night stand. It was, Eli was with Gabby and Lonnie was with JJ, and it was a whole thing. That was a story, that was a full throttle storyline that we rode with them. And it was only after that it was kind of like the catalyst for them starting to fall in love.
No.
So as terrible as that was, it led somewhere. I
Yeah.
don't know where this is leading, and it's just a little bit annoying, only because they're such a young couple, and testing them this way, I feel doesn't build them up.
No.
Mhm.
Well, and then also let's not forget Jada and Eric,
Mhm.
and Jada ended up, having an abortion due to what Nicole told her. But
Mhm.
again, it's like one of those things like, was there another way for Jada and Nicole to clash to where Jada was just kind of like, you know what? Have them.
Mhm.
Because even that storyline didn't, like, there's no resentment from Jada to
Yeah.
Nicole.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And in fact, now Eric and Nicole have a baby together.
I know.
Yeah. Well, the Jada one actually I didn't mind, only because it had something to say about abortion, and the idea that we have to make that such a big deal. What it is another what it was kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, I feel, about miscarriages, which is that miscarriages happen so often but are encouraged to not be discussed, whereas an abortion is, it happens so often, is also encouraged not to be discussed. But there's a difference, and in both cases it's meant to be a shame thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so I feel like in that sense, I didn't mind it, because I feel like their intention with Jada was to hit the mark and say that she's a grown woman. She's not in a stable relationship. She doesn't feel like she's in a good place in her life, and she gets to make this choice about her life and her body. And then we don't need to pretend that it didn't exist, but we do need to say that this is not something that she's going to regret for the rest of her life, and it's going to haunt her and blah blah blah, like everybody tries to make you think
Right.
when you're considering abortion.
Someone just mentioned Sloane lost her baby, but with that, look at the storyline we got.
Mhm.
It was the
You know what I mean?
catalyst to
Yeah.
something else, and that's what we're saying, is that please don't be killing babies for the sake of killing
Yeah.
babies. It has to
So
lead to something.
So, I think that's kind of the point. Like going back, what was the catalyst for Jada having her abortion? What's the catalyst of Chanel and Johnny's baby, being miscarried? So we just at this point now, like we just kind of wait to see
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Now,
But also we have to realize that um, there was a different writing regime because the writer's strike was happening.
that's true.
So and then once that ended and the regular team came in again, and we've said it here, it's like it's almost like they looked at where they were with each storyline and they had to go, okay, this is what we have to do to tie this up. We have to tie this up. We have to do, so that's also I keep that in the back of my mind too, of like that's also kind of what we're seeing as well, as like,
Mhm.
can you imagine be, being on the writing team and coming back and being like, You gave her a baby? What are we gonna do with that?
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, I mean, unless I don't know. I feel like it's weird because we've been reading reports about how the temp writers did their best to stick to their storylines and flush out and I mean, some stuff we saw that they made an instant cut on, but I don't know. I'd be curious if the temp writers were really like, we're just going to give people children and not think about that and not have that be the actual writers doing that and them following through on it. I don't know. I would venture to say that this was a Ron thing, not Ron specifically, but I venture to say this was an old writer thing. I have a hard time thinking that new writers would come in and give someone a baby without knowing that this is gonna, they could change that at will.
See,
I don't know.
I don't know, because like I just feel like that during that whole strike, they were all just kind of hands off. And remember, I was like, well, did they turn in an outline or something like
I had
something
hoped
while they
so.
were gone? And I mean, I don't know, because we not there, but
Well, I had kind of speculated on that. I had hoped, because I kind of saw it wasn't terribly like out there, but Ron himself disputed it recently, saying that no, they were hands off. So
yeah. Well, Me World, thank you for your $4.99 and your input. He says, "I'm about to go in on Ron and his team. We need to we need them to stop offering multicultural babies. First Lonnie with her first child, and then Jada, and now Chanel." I don't
heck,
know.
I'd be happy with one Latino baby. They gave
Yeah.
Gabby like the whitest child.
I would like to. Oh, that's Gabby's child.
Yeah, and she's blonde like her daddy.
Not me forgetting.
Mhm.
Again, I don't want to make it seem like, because we love the show, we
Yeah.
love the people on it. Like, I don't want to make it seem like they're just, oh, we gonna, put a baby in and take a baby out and put a baby in and we toss them all about. Like, that's not.
That was such a
But
that was such a moment.
It's also interesting to look at who does get a baby and who doesn't. Like, look at
You
the
get a
children
baby, you get a
who have
baby,
been
you get a
born
baby.
and what the parentage of those babies. I mean, this is also I mean, look, like, not to go there, but look at like the stuff with like Bo and Hope. Remember, like, Bo wasn't the father of all of Hope's children. Those were other men that they retconned to make it Bo, because Bo and Hope are a super couple, and Hope can't dare have other children by different men, even though Bo can have a daughter. Hope's not allowed to have children by other men, even though she actually did. And Zach was not, Bo was not Zach's father, and Bo was not Sierra's father, but those were retcons, and now, all of her children are by Bo because they're a super couple, and the woman can't have a baby by someone else. And,
Wait, what? Sierra wasn't Bo's?
it was Patrick's first. That was a retcon.
Oh, that's what that. Oh, that's what. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, it should have been Patrick's, but they said ta ta ta.
No, we have to make it Bo's because
Mm. Oh, side note, my good friend James Lott Jr. just came in from his walk with Jesus. Welcome, James. So I don't know. It's regarding what we saw this week. Kudos to Raven and Carson.
Yeah.
I can just only imagine how Carson
Oh my gosh.
might have felt during this, because at this time he was celebrating and anticipating his first child. So I feel like to have this storyline and to put yourself in that mindset of like, oh my gosh, like what if this happened to me in actuality? Like I feel like that's where his emotion came from.
Yeah.
And I think with Raven, just as a woman, you're giving life and then life is taken away. And I mean, they both they both did such an amazing job, and it showed such a different side to both of them
Yeah.
uh this week, and both how they handle it. Like, of course, Chanel being, like, devastated, and of
Mm-hmm.
course Johnny being devastated too, but also enough to where he's mourning but strong enough to
Hmm.
kind of to support Chanel. So kudos to Carson and Raven for doing the
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the work.
And I like the scenes they had with other. I like Chanel's scene with Abe, and I like
Mm-hmm.
Johnny's scene with EJ, and like both not different sides of the coin per se, but just showing them how each of them were sort of dealing with it, and just like you said, just great work from them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those conversations struck the right tone in terms of just being purely supportive, purely love, just saying, I love you. I'm here for you. I'm not going to try to tell you how to feel about this. As opposed to uh, Paulina, who, I'm sorry, can we somebody needs to have a conversation with the woman about not making things about herself.
I mean, talk about somebody who needs to read the room.
If you like, I like, we could probably guess with certainty, well, not certainty, but high probability that, it was like 50-50 whether or not this was actually Paulina's fault.
Mhm.
Because it was, I mean, 9 weeks is early. That's early in a pregnancy. So yeah, any number of things can happen. So
Yeah.
statistically speaking, this is bound to happen. And but if she wants to be angry at you, let her be angry at you.
Yeah.
And when she's able to, and when she wants to, then have a conversation.
Yes, because
Yeah.
it's her loss. It's her pain. She gets to feel however she wants to feel. There is no right way to get through this process.
Listen, when Johnny said Paulina,
Yes.
we all know. Let me tell you, when people talk with both of their hands
Yep.
like this, it's very much like, I need you to understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
She don't want to talk to you. Leave her alone. Don't go in that room. That's
Mhm.
what the hand said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now Johnny said it in a different way, but with if anybody is frustrated and they go, listen, whatever's about to come out next, they mean business. They need
Mm-hmm.
you to do what Beyonce said and
And
listen.
that was very, and actually that's very much needed. And I hope that he continues with that tone to say, because she's always like, my baby, my baby. And like, yes, she's your baby, but she's not a baby. And she has a husband who is her partner. And this is their loss to go
Mm-hmm.
through.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever decisions they make about how they want to live their lives and how they want to get through this process, that's their decision to make and yours to respect.
Yeah. But like Justin mentioned, you know, because Chanel was adamant. She heard that, go away.
Yep.
I was like, but I love how Abe came in and said basically like, it's me. I just
Mhm.
wanna, and he was just there for her, and
Yep.
in just such a loving, caring way. And even like when he was like wiping the tears from her face, I
Yes.
was
Yeah.
like,
I know. That's Abe. I know.
so. But that was a lot to process. It was
Yeah.
a lot to definitely process. And Dr. Green, honey, he is working. He is working,
Mhm, mm, mm, mm.
and we'll get more to him
Yes.
later. It was very sweet. For Felicity is just a very sweet girl,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and I love that she, gave the stuffed animal to her.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna hate to see the scene where she has to
I
explain to
know what
Felicity,
they're gonna tell her. I know.
like, sorry, we lost the baby. Here's your stuffed animal back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I hope if I hope that this is a catalyst to see more of Felicity,
And her
to
family.
expand, yeah, and her family. Well, to expand Chanel's world.
Mhm.
You know, maybe she's not going to be a mother quite yet, but she could just take on Felicity as a mentor. I don't know. We'll see.
She
Yeah, I
really
mean,
should.
well, there's also something with that family we still suspect, so we could be seeing them.
There's something going on with that
Something
family.
going
I
on with that
know.
family. I know there is.
Side note: did anyone else have this thought of like, Chanel, you're just moving to LA for a couple weeks. Why did you close Sweet Bits?
None of this made
Like,
sense, Tony. None of it.
like this is your revenue. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to be there. You just have to hire some people, or you just stay in Salem and be like, I got business to run.
None of this made sense. I was like,
It
it was funny because it's so funny because it's almost as if people who wrote this aren't in the entertainment industry and don't know how it works. Like, you don't move to, if you're get an AD job and you live in another state and you have a family, you don't immediately move to the
No.
city. You go to the city to do the job, and maybe the idea is while you're there, you may pick up another job, you may form partnerships, you may say, okay, this is
You stay on someone's
wild.
couch.
Yeah, like, you don't move your whole family and close businesses. I was like, none of that made any sense.
it didn't, and I was like, if anything, you would use the profits that you made from Sweet Bits in Salem to open Sweet Bits in LA.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you have two businesses, which then means that means if this went well for Johnny, and first of all, you don't buy like you look to see
Yeah.
if Sweet Bits could expand, right? But if Johnny did well and was like, oh, like we could be in LA a couple times. Oh, okay. And then like have an extended stay in LA, and then you go, you know what? Let's franchise Sweet Bits here too. Because to be honest, I would love a business that just only had desserts, but like really good desserts.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's like there's a couple places in LA that I
I'm
think
sure.
have it, but it's not, I don't know. Like, we have Sprinkles, but Sprinkles is a very like specific
Yeah.
kind of brand, cupcake and everything. No,
It's just cupcakes.
I just want to go to a place where you have everything. You
Yeah.
have apple pie, key lime pie. You have cakes. You have milkshakes. You have cookies. Like, I just like when I have a sweet tooth, I want to be like, I'm just gonna go to this place. You have donuts. You have mini donuts. You have the sugar, this
Yeah.
powdered.
Powder,
You just have everything just right there. Call it
there are
sweet
very
tooth.
few like mom and pop bakeries around anymore.
Yeah. Oh. Ooh, an apple pie sounds good.
Now we're getting like dessert.
Yeah. Y'all, I'm sorry. I will never forget. I have no idea where they got that apple pie from, but my love for apple pies, I think, started on the set of
Oh,
Days.
when you did the back,
I
you get
did the
eating and eating.
yes. I was in that. It was like, uh, it was a cafe,
Oh,
Javista.
the Sunny Cafe,
No, not that
not
one.
that one. Oh, okay.
No, this was the one that like I think Chad, played by Casey Diedrich, and Mia. Remember
Oh,
Oh,
Mia?
okay,
Like,
wow.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
think they worked at this cafe. But I
okay.
remember sitting on that couch and they were like, "Yeah, you can eat it." And when I tell you, I don't know if I was just hungry, but that apple pie was so good. Oh, it was so good.
I'll tell you a
Jesus.
secret. Whenever I've worked on set, I've purposely put myself in charge of catering so that I could control the food.
That's that is yeah, as you should.
It's like, right.
Uh so Star Trek asks, has Tony never been to the Castro in SF? I have. Do they have apple pie there?
He's in a pie kind of a mood.
Really good bakery.
And I don't I'm all about the ice cream these days. It's too damn hot.
Baskin Robbins daiquiri ice. Mm.
Oh God, here we go. Right back to that.
Java Cafe. That's what it was called. Java Cafe.
Oh, Java.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
That's it.
I said Sunny, but that's what I was thinking of.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm so hungry. Okay. That is it for that storyline. Let's move on to this double wedding drama. I'm just gonna say this, Teresa. You are overthinking. You are doing too much. You
Yes.
don't have to say anything. You can act like you know nothing. Nothing.
Yep.
Like at this point, you can blame it on Constantine.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
She's
Just
showing her hand.
she's
way too
digging
much.
herself a hole
Yep.
because okay, say um say that the worst happens, Xander's mom comes to the wedding, blah blah blah. She could head it off at the pass, because unless somebody specifically brings out the letter, then nobody's gonna know the difference.
And no one's gonna know that you were involved.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
The
Yeah.
only person that knew that you were involved, guess what?
He did.
Although Brady's on this investigating,
Damn!
which I was like, oh Brady, would you not get a brain, but when did you start
He took
getting
smart pills this week.
Yeah, I was like, when did you get smart?
Holy
Put that
moly,
together.
he got there quick.
Yeah,
I mean,
But-
it took him like what? It's been 9 months,
I know, right? I know.
but he got there.
But that's knowing Teresa.
Yeah,
You
true.
know.
Yeah,
And here's the thing. Like, again, she can lie and say, yes, I got into the briefcase, I saw, and then I mean, hell, Alex is already fine. So I thought if he ends up with money, then
Mm-hmm.
2 for 2 for me.
yeah. Everyone's getting hung up on like I don't even understand. Like, listen, he's an embarrassingly good-looking guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like the money's like icing on the cake. Like we know Teresa's up to something, of course, but also if this plot didn't come around, she probably would have dated Alex anyway. Again, of course, we know she's doing it. You know, she orchestrated the money and all that kind of stuff. But still, like people are acting like she wouldn't have looked at Alex otherwise if he didn't have money or something. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, he was still. I mean, just because he wasn't the heir, he was still a Kyriakis.
yeah, and still had a good amount of money. Like he wasn't. What did someone say last week? Like, oh yeah, like you weren't a pauper when she met you either. Like, you know, you had some things going on there.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. I think people would be suspicious if Alex was a gremlin.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, there you go.
Like-
exactly.
Like if every time they were together, you heard a do 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 do.
And can I say it's so weird to hear Brady refer to Teresa as his ex-wife.
Mhm.
Not because it's not factually true, but because the marriage in question that he is referencing was like a hot minute.
Yeah,
He got that annulled quick.
Mhm.
It was later on that they had a relationship when they were raising Tate when he was a baby, and they had that like beautiful like wedding in the bedroom. That was what he considered like their real marriage.
Mhm.
And so to hear him refer to her that way, it's a little weird.
Well,
I have to say this like triangle portion of this storyline just still it doesn't work for me. Like, yes, there's Teresa and Brady have started to have feelings for each other the past few weeks and this Tate thing, but it's also I also don't root for them either. So you know what I mean? Like I'm not thinking, oh, Brady and Teresa deserve to be together or you know something's keeping them apart. I actually, even though she's tricking Alex, and I wish that wasn't the case, I'd still actually prefer her with Alex than Brady.
Ugh,
yeah.
no.
Well,
I
I think it's just because like again, it's a new like, and I think it's also how it's played, right? If we saw more moments where Teresa and Brady were fighting their feelings, I think we
Mhm,
would
yeah.
be more on board with it. we do see them getting along. They got along when they chaperoned the prom.
Yeah.
And there have been moments where like we see them getting along, but I think for like when Theresa first got back into town, it was very
Yeah, exactly.
between
Yeah.
her and Brady. So at that point, we were just like, okay, we good on that.
They shine when they're co-parenting. And it's for that reason that I have a sneaking suspicion of what the next storyline's going to be. And God, I hope I'm right.
Well, write it down and let us know if you are.
I really hope I'm right, because that to me, like, you're right, Justin. Right now, the way that they are just with each other, it's not gonna, it wouldn't work. But I see something else hopefully coming down the pike.
Okay. Yeah. Then we got, why is Bonnie suggesting a double?
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
Bonnie.
No!
I was gonna say that. I was like, I could not believe that Bonnie suggested a double wedding with Theresa, who clearly goes back and forth whether she actually truly hates Xander or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
She was trying to convince Sarah. She actually made a comment that not all double weddings in Salem end up in disaster. And in my mind, I'm thinking, name one.
They do.
Name one that didn't end up badly.
I just sometimes wish that there was a character who was like us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in that moment where Bonnie was like, "You guys should have a double wedding." They just go, "Oh no."
Can't come out from the
Which double
back.
wedding
Yeah.
have you seen be successful? This double wedding gonna have somebody's secrets exposed or something like that. Nope, no, thank you. Want no part of it. You have your own wedding. Hope you get through it. But a double wedding is a double recipe for a double disaster, and I want no parts.
And did you guys catch the wink wink about Gwen?
What?
I was like, first it threw me off. I was like, who are they talking? And I was like, oh, they're talking about Gwen. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
then
when did that
instantly,
happen?
when Bonnie was saying, oh yeah, the last double wedding ended in
Oh.
disaster, and Sarah was like, I don't want to talk about that person, and then they zoomed in on Teresa, and it was like, it's, they were talking about Gwen basically.
It's like it's
Gwen
Gwen
is
in the
Xander,
house with
yeah.
a wig on.
Yeah, right. I know.
Cue Michael Mattis
I
absolutely
know.
pulling his
Right,
hair
Michael.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just you know what? And I'm glad Bonnie found the invitation in the trash, and I'm glad she went ahead and found a stamp and is mailing it off.
Teresa, that was an amateur move.
In the same
You take it
room?
with you. Yeah, come on.
She clearly doesn't watch Dateline.
Also, you could have stayed true to yourself, and just like not helped, but at some point grab that invitation and just keep it.
Yeah, that would have made more sense. Yeah.
It's
Throw
just-
it away
it's-
in the park or something.
She's just bleeping all over the place.
Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll see how that wedding turns out.
I will say
Yeah.
the one part I did really love, and this is an offshoot of that, like the Xander Sarah stuff was whatever, but the Xander Nicole conversation, I
Yeah,
thought was
wow.
really well done. It was like, I was kind of not like I was like, oh, maybe you too, but I was kind of like, okay, this is how like you mature two people who have been through a lot, like to have that type of honest conversation that they had, and it was really, I'm actually a bad person, and this is how far I've come, and you were a bad person, and this is how far you've come, and not that we're best friends, but we can recognize that in each other. And I thought that was just like a perfect sort of combo for them two characters to have. And they each called each other out on their stuff too, which was good.
Yeah, I mean, it was perfectly written in the sense that it wasn't, oh, we're gonna be best friends now, or we remotely even like each other now.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, I see you. Yeah, you're not perfect, but you're not as bad as you used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have come a long way because they have been through a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I just watched because it came up? The Nicole mask reveal.
God. I don't know
Don
why.
is yanking it off her in the club.
I mean,
He went. I was like, oh my God.
We've had so many like reveals like that, but that I don't know why that one just creeps me out. Maybe it's just the way it was pulled off. It was like,
Yeah.
And you
I
heard
was
the
like,
you heard
I'm done
the
with this shit. I know who she is, and I'm snatching it off her.
you heard the sound effect too of like them like peeling it off.
oh gosh.
Oh, that was a good one.
And everyone was always like, how did they change heights? It's like, again, you
Right.
just had to go with it. Anywho, what is that it with that storyline? That's all I remember.
Yep.
I think was that.
Yep.
Well, I feel like there was something else. No. No. Maggie and Alex made amends, kind of, which is long overdue, I guess.
Let's see how long that lasts.
Okay. I don't want this to sound shady.
Every time you say that.
I know. Because everyone's now been talking to Victor's photo, to Victor's portrait. And I look at it and I go, I really wish it was more in the vein of Stefano's portrait, but with Victor.
I really wish it wasn't given to them by a murderer and they're still hanging on to it.
That too. But remember, like, it feels like Victor in clouds.
Oh, the actual picture, yeah.
I wish it was just, even Victor like in a chair, just like.
Yeah, I do see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. There's no shade. I love y'all. I really do. But now that everyone's been talking to the portrait, and I've just been like.
Honestly, though, to both of your points, there should be a scene where Maggie or someone comes in and is like, let's replace that photo that Constantine gave us that we don't want in our home, but we like the idea of having Victor here. So let's. No, I agree.
We'll mortalize him in the way that we see.
We want exactly, yeah.
Just redo it.
And I feel like that you can realistically pull that off. That is something that they would probably do anyway.
Like. Again, I would suggest the chair, the armchair, and him just like leaning in with that Victor smirk, like, like he just said something snarky. I mean, I'm just saying.
I can picture it. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's move on to our next storyline, which is Free Gabby. When I tell you Stefan was working hard on that,
God.
He had put his foot down. He was like, today, EJ.
Yeah.
And not poor Melinda. Can you imagine walking down the street saying, do why diddy diddy dum diddy do? And then hearing, wee, 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 and being arrested?
Melinda's been put through it.
But she's also not having it too. She's just like, all right, I see you.
I did not see that coming. I didn't see that coming.
What?
When she said, now that I have immunity, you can't touch me. I'm going to turn around and tell your wife. I was like, oh, wow. I would not have thought that in a million years.
I said, not you still going to be a snitch. And I'm like, EJ, you a lawyer. You a liar. You a liar. Why did you not put in the clause, you have to keep your mouth shut about this forever, in perpetuity?
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, EJ's in a no-win situation here. The clock is officially ticking on his time with Nicole and Jude. Someone's going to squeal. Someone's going to walk in on someone saying something they're not supposed to.
But yay for Cherie. I liked her so far. I know we got a little bit of her, but I like what she's doing with the character of Gabby.
Yeah. It's interesting because sometimes, again, she'll say something and I'm like, I can hear Camila saying it that way. And also, what's also interesting is that like there was a little bit of expectation of, in my mind, teleporting to her like, don't forget, Gabby is I don't take no shiz from people, and she's a fiery Latina. So you gotta. But what's interesting is being in jail for as long as she's been in jail and being in solitary confinement and being beat up can kind of slightly
Yeah.
change you just a little bit. So I
Mhm.
was like, this was the perfect time
Yep.
to do the recast. And I don't know. I'm looking forward to hopefully talking to her, and I really hope that maybe she sees this part.
Mhm.
Um, I would love to talk to her more about the then and now, because imagine again you auditioning for a role that you were like, this is it, like this is going to change
Hmm.
my life, and then not get it, and then 15 years later it comes back around and you land it.
Hmm.
Like,
Well,
that's
let's also
crazy.
be clear. It is a bigger deal now than it would have been then, because back then Gabby wasn't as such a big
Yeah.
character.
No,
Actually, the bigger deal back in the day was because that they had brought Galen Gehring from Passions. The bigger deal back in the day was that they brought his Passions sister to play his sister on Days of Our Lives. Back in the day, that was the bigger deal.
she was the first Gabby.
No, she was
No,
Ariana.
he means Ariana. He means having Lindsay.
The
Oh,
elder Lindsay Hartley was the original Ariana. And so
what does that got to do with Gabby?
the 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 deal is that that was a bigger it was a bigger deal back in the day. In other words, Camila's casting wasn't that big a deal, because remember, if you remember, Camila was also a recast.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
wasn't the original Gabby, and it
No.
was and they and they were and you know, she was playing a high schooler. She was a child. It was very young. Now, for Cherry to get this role roughly what 15 years later, it's a much bigger deal. Gabby's a much more mainstay character. She's got a lot more expectation riding on her,
Yeah.
and so
It's a
I can't.
leading performance
Yes,
versus back then would have been a slightly under supporting performance as the character.
yes,
Yeah.
But I'm
yeah,
just saying
Yeah. No.
in
Either or.
retrospect
Yeah.
of her, like back then not getting the role. Like she could
Mhm.
have said, "All right, you know what? I'm done with acting. Forget this." Da da da. But to like be in a time warp,
Mhm.
and it's like, here we are back here again,
Yeah.
15 years later, and then to get that call like, "Congratulations, you're Gabby."
You never know how things are going to turn out. Like, also,
No.
like, who knows if she would have liked playing Gabby? Because remember, Gabby wasn't the person Gabby is now, is not who she was. Not just
oh
in
No.
no,
general, in terms of growing up on the show. She was also, there was a character shift with the character that made her more hardened, that made her more feisty. And that's sort of the Gabby we know and love now. But that wasn't who the character was initially. She was very
No.
much, you know, as much as you can be a sweet sort of high schooler kind of going through life and blah blah blah. And but who
When
knows if she would have liked playing that person for 15 years, or if she would have moved through with the change of the character then too. So you never
right.
know how things turn out.
How did Gabby get her wings? When she hit Nick with the rock and teamed up with Sammy and Kate to get rid of the body.
yeah. I
And
mean, that
that,
was her first taste of, I would say, standing up for herself and her daughter. But yeah, it wasn't until Abigail's alters framed her and she went to jail the first time that we got the real transformation of Gabby.
mhm.
Well, no, I think it was before that when she teamed with what's the name, the stalker, to set Melanie. I feel like that was when
Oh, with
Gabby
Oh,
Andrew.
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
was
that
when
was
Gabby sort of
very,
became bad, so to speak.
yeah, bad in the yeah. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was very, she kind of played it off as a one-time mistake.
Mm, mm, like, yeah, sicking a stalker on someone. Yes, sicking a man on. Yeah, I guess so.
Hmm. Um, but I'm glad, you know, everyone worked together to make sure that Gabby was free.
Yeah, she's out finally.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we'll
All right.
see we'll see how she
How it pans out.
Yeah, how life pans out. Now on the flip side, then there's the Eric and Nicole of it all, who have no idea what's going on. They're just living their lives and trying to recover from all of this.
I know we've said it, it's a broken record. We're not against them, but we don't prefer them together, blah, blah, blah. But also the show just keeps, it's constantly, even them as quote unquote good people keep doing this thing that I just found incredibly offensive. Like, yeah, EJ and Sloan are the bad guys, but they're married people who constantly put themselves in each other's orbit. They constantly put themselves in situations where they're denying their feelings. They know they have feelings. They know they're strong, and they keep brushing them aside and getting with other people, marrying other people, having children with other people. It's like at some point, it's like you're starting to be the bad guy now, you know?
I mean, it's done. And, you know, with Nicole's impending departure from Salem, we know it's done. So I'm not even gonna stress about it anymore, comment on it anymore. It doesn't, that part of it no longer really truly interests me. The most interesting thing about their whole dynamic this week for me was the conversation that Eric had with Roman, bringing in some really good history. Spot on history to John and Marlena, and that you know, that original John Marlena Roman triangle, and you know, Baby Bell, and that's how you use history. That was good.
And then followed up with Abe too, when he was like, when we had to get back Isaac, and you know, you remember how that turned out, and yeah, I mean, it
wasn't a picnic those days.
Yeah,
definitely not.
Those were not the good days of our lives. I mean, good for us as
the days.
Those weren't the days. I mean, for us as an audience, they were great, but for them, no.
All right. Well, that is your week of days, and we are now going into our some tidbits. But before we go into that, just a couple of reminders. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Make sure you also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out all the videos that we have, including past episodes and interviews that we have from many of your favorite stars on Days of Our Lives. Also, show some love on us on our favorite podcast station, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Just search Dishin Days and begin to follow. Also, show some love to our former co-host and chocolate twin, James Lott Jr., over at JLJ Media on YouTube and wherever podcasts can be found. And don't forget to keep telling us your thoughts and comment below. Moving right along, please move right out of my life. We go to goodbye, Harris and Lucas.
Lucas will be back. Harris will not.
Just like that, they gone. But not before Lucas finds out that Abigail might be alive.
Yeah. Lucas has, I mean, it was a good thing to show that Lucas is, you know, has children. His children are not in Salem. It was nice to get an update that they're no longer in New Zealand, because I think they thought that they were still in New Zealand this whole time. They're not.
I did chuckle when they brought that up first with who was it? Was it Kate, or when he was telling Kate, and then it sort of went by and no one said anything, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. No one's gonna comment on it. And then when they brought it up with Abe, and Abe was like, oh, they're in Phoenix now, and I was like, okay, finally, thank you. Like, someone is acknowledging that they weren't there originally.
I thought they were in. Oh, hold on. Starstruck said, please stop singing. I will not. And there's that on that.
Clearly, Star Trek has not spent a lot of time on here if you think that Tony is ever going to take that suggestion seriously.
Never. What were you saying?
But yeah, Lucas say going to visit Allie and Will in Phoenix.
Who we all thought were in New Zealand, and they
Yeah.
now some
Yes.
are in
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
I'm like, when y'all move?
Well, the movie's over, I guess, so that
Yeah,
makes
so
sense. Yeah.
they'll be fine. Yeah.
Hmm.
He'll be back. Kay has nothing to worry about. She's just, she's just being a mama bear. She's got really nothing to worry about.
They always come back.
They always come back.
Hopefully sooner than later. We love Lucas, and he often gets shortchanged a lot, and I think his presence is needed on the show for what he brings to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Lucas will be back. Harris will not.
But what a lovely way to just end things. A nice conversation, a one more again kind of a moment, and then just a cuddle in bed where all you hear are the birds chirping or love is in the air. Oh, I sang again. But it was also Harris is leaving because he got a call from Hope and he wants Hope.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's better than him just being mad at Ava, I guess.
I hope that that was a good thing, and I hope that eventually leads to somewhere with Megan Hathaway. I don't think that we need to necessarily see Harris again. We're not going to see Harris again. I'm telling you right now. I don't know why I'm saying if. We're not.
I don't know. Maybe.
No, we're not. Miracles would have to happen.
No. I'm not talking about Steve Burton. I'm talking about Harris, the character.
Okay, yeah, okay. Oh, okay. All right. That I can concede.
Yeah.
We will not see Steve Burton again. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. He is firmly ensconced as General Hospital, and with the Jonathan Jackson news that came out this week, nobody's going anywhere on that show.
You know what? I don't know, Araceli. We'll see. Who knows what the future holds?
There would need to be another pandemic.
I was also kind of like, listen, please don't let this be one of those storylines where Harris is just out there chasing a lead after lead after lead after lead after lead. Like,
it never comes back.
It never comes back. We got to do something.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Don't have him out there wandering. That's like Hope being bedside next to Bo this whole time, and he's still in a coma.
Why are you starting to get people started? You're trying to get people started.
I didn't write the show. At the end of the credits, you don't see written by Tony Moore. I'm just saying. Although one time you did see DJ Terrence Tony Moore. But let's not just have him out here in the Uverse and like all of a sudden it's like bring doom 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 bring Harris. Hi. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you do. You have to go, but you just okay.
You're hot on Megan's tail.
It's like, girl.
Or what was it when they got rid of Bo? He went deep undercover. Remember, he was like, Harris has to go deep undercover now for a few years to get her.
It's like, please just get in the submarine and go down.
Yeah.
What's this? Debbie Bright says DJ Terrence needs to open place in sweep his space. Yeah, I could be in the corner. Get your donuts, get your donuts, get your donuts, bear claws.
I think she means like open, like replace Sweet Bits.
Oh, with a club.
Yeah.
I can see that. The resident DJ. DJ Terrence. Just saying. What else?
It was.
That's it, right?
Yeah, it was nice. Thanks, Harris, for the 2 years or whatever. It was nice having it back. I will say it would have been nicer if they played up his actual history on the show. And again, he wasn't a major character back in the 80s, but again, the 2 scenes we got with Eve was fine, I guess, even though it was, actress, of course, but it would have been nice to have a little bit more of that stuff played out or integrated into it, but whatever. I mean, we'll never know who knows if the character will come back sometime in the near future.
Well, we got people leaving, and we got haters who have a hateration and a holleration in this dancery. The blockers regarding Holly and Tate. Here's the thing. Never mind. Yo, somebody else take it.
Go ahead. You, Team Theresa, go ahead.
Who's Team Theresa?
You. From last week, we were like...
Okay, if I can get past what Holly has done to Tate, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, because Bonnie was saying it. It's like kids make mistakes. You make mistakes. Currently, Theresa is a grown woman who's making mistakes.
Yeah.
It's like, stop being so harsh on them.
Yeah.
And I know it's kind of like, but you said, listen, I still don't know how Tate has made the decision to be like, I want to be with you, but I'm just going to chalk it up to dumb teenage hormones, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, just let them be. Because the more you restrict them, the more they're going to want to be together. And I did feel bad when Holly got brought back to the house. Because, it was back to, now I can't trust you. I tried to say goodbye and I choke.
Honey, me and Theresa would have been fighting. I ain't getting in no car with you. I don't care whose mama you are. I don't care what authority you think you have. You can call my mother. I'll dial the number. But I'm not getting in a car with you. Tate, get your mother.
That's actually pretty reasonable.
No, I'm not getting in a car with Theresa. If you want to call my mother to have her come and get me, sure. I can jump in an Uber and go home, and you can meet me there.
Yeah,
the Demira Mansion is where I live. You can go. I'm not getting in a car with you. You do not have ownership over me. Know your place. You want to grab Tate and throw him in a car? You can do that. You do not have ownership over other people's teenage children. Yeah. I'm just like, let the kid, like, stop, like, no offense, but I'm like, you four degenerate parents are like trying to school these like stupid teenagers who just want to like date each other.
You know that literally the motto of parenthood is do as I say, not as I do.
I was like, oh, leave these kids alone. Like, oh, just like sit down and just be reasonable and say, you know, we don't like this, but here are the rules, or here is you know, let's all sit down and figure out a solution to all this. But keeping them apart like they're friggin' Romeo and Juliet is like ridiculous at this point.
A conversation with the parents needs to be had at this point because they're not going to stay away from each other. That being said, sneaking around in the park, you know, or, you know, at school is very different from a hotel room. They can say that they weren't doing anything up the wazoo. You find your kid in a hotel room with another kid, we're about to have problems.
But they weren't about to have sex.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They weren't gonna do it.
It doesn't matter.
They just wanted some alone time.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Any parent who finds their kid in a hotel room with someone else, they're gonna be you. Truth be told, Theresa's reaction, tame compared to what I've seen.
Can you imagine if they were though, and you went and then found them in bed together?
I guarantee
the mortification of the situation.
I will say I got a kick out of Marlena and Eric being like, I ain't in it. Leave me alone. Let me eat my red velvet cake from Sweet Bits because we ain't getting no more. And leave me alone. I'm focused on my cake. And I was like, you two nosy mother effers are always in somebody else's business. And now Tate's asking you if you want to go fly.
It's her house. It's her couch.
No. I'm saying from Tate's point of view, he's like, "Are you gonna jump in? Y'all always offering unsolicited advice any other time. Now I need you to jump in for me." And Eric's
No.
You
did something wrong. Two wrongs don't make right. Just because your parents are being unreasonable doesn't mean that gives you a free pass to go and get a hotel room with your girlfriend and lie to your parents about it.
No, I agree, but I also think Brady was not really as troubled about all that as Theresa was. I think he was being the supportive parent and backing her up, but I don't think he cared so much. I think he was sort of, if they didn't find them in a hotel room, I really think Brady might have stuck up for them. If say they caught them at the prom in like a classroom or something kissing, I feel like Brady would have went to bat for Tate. But
yes,
I think the hotel room sort of exacerbated that. But also, he was still on the fence though. Like Brady really wasn't coming down on Tate. It was really like, your mom's justified. Your mom. It wasn't I feel you did something wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was good. But it was good that he backed her up.
Yeah.
Because he recognizes that they need to be on the same page, and the one thing that you can't do, because that's the opening that a teen needs. You don't undercut the other parent in front of your kid. No, because then it gives the teenager the opportunity to say, oh, here's conflict between them. I can find a way through this, and I can break the wedge between them, and I can pit one parent against the other. They're waiting for that opportunity. And Brady was not about to play that game. I guarantee you, in his mind, he wasn't coming down his hard on Tate, but he didn't agree with him either, because he knows the minute that he does, it gives Tate the excuse to argue with him on it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough about the blockers. We'll go from blocking people to putting them on pause. Abigail on pause.
So
I love that they decided to tell Lucas, but not anybody else.
Well, I mean, Chad had already told Lucas.
Yeah, he was sort of not in it, but he already was.
Yeah, he told him out of shock. He was in a state of shock when Clyde first told him. Yeah. But yeah, and Lucas isn't going to say anything. I do like that bond that. Yeah, yeah, but I do like that bond that Chad and Lucas have built up.
I do too. Yeah, and nothing. Literally, it was on pause. The storyline was just on pause. Nothing happened. We still have the
hijack
footage from the 80s on the security cam footage.
Hijack.
It's almost like when Abigail first arrived in Salem. Remember, she was like, you know, like.
When she came back from the dead and was like with that big hat on, was walking around the park, the Salem park. With her big dynasty hat on that covered her whole head.
It was very much like
yes.
Dylan,
Abigail?
put Tony in slow motion.
Oh god.
Oh wait, let me make sure it's a good one. You gotta
Not Michael Jackson.
All right. Well, now let's talk about waste management.
Okay.
I don't mind Abe being head of sanitation.
No.
Yeah, I was fine with. I was like, is that really that? I mean, are the CES concerned citizens of CCS Salem gonna rage war over Abe being head of?
And guys, that I'll be honest with you guys. This I know a little something about this now. That job is so much a retirement job.
Right.
Those kinds of city jobs are so much retirement jobs. Yes, they make money, but they're for like retired people who live in the community.
Yeah, it's like really
who got nothing but time on their hands.
But I did like where the overall idea was leading with him and Kate. I did like that of like them teaming up again. I was like, oh yeah, I liked when they worked. I actually really liked when they worked together.
Yeah.
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 I'd vote for him.
Me too.
I don't
Even
think
though
it's,
that's
I don't think it's a vote thing. It's
an appointed job.
I'd
Yeah.
vote for him.
It's such a retirement job. It's not. I don't. Please don't make this a big deal. Pull the trigger on Abe and Kate doing something together or not, because
the ABK business I'm for. Yeah.
Hmm. All right, and last but not least,
Oh Lord, this
Diana giving Norma Desmond.
Yes. Honey, Judith Chapman was working that. She
holy
was going for a Dishin Days
moly.
award for guest star, honey.
Oh my god. This is what I mean about like what it
Classic soap.
annoys what it annoys the hell out of me when you have these kinds of veteran actors. And I'm sorry. I no, you know what? I'm not. I always say I'm sorry. I'm not sorry for what I'm about to say. Judith Chapman has been wasted on Young and the Restless.
Oh, you're
For years. I mean, she's not even on contract anymore, but I swear for years they had her on recurring status or whatever. And I'm sorry. This is the Judith Chapman I'd love to see.
Yeah.
One episode, and she just gave and she gave and she gave.
Yeah. And she told that line of being really like hateful, but also giving like little bits of the Diana from the 80s, 90s a little bit. And I've also struggled with this a bit because as much as I love Judith Chapman, as much as I love that performance last week, this is so like this might as well be a different character from the old Diana. So I like sometimes I struggle with like, okay, how much could this person have changed over that amount of time? So I don't know. I deal with that on my own, but also I can recognize that she was just phenomenal and is working this part of the character, even if it's not my favorite incarnation of her.
Brilliant performances from Greg and from Judith. You feel for Leo because, I mean, it really starts at the top. And his mother really did not care for him. I think there's a very small part that does, because some of it did affect her, but I think it even came from a selfish place.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't bow at my feet. You know, it's like, no, you were awful. And even when Leo recounted the story of being abused by his father and ended up killing him, it was almost like she was like, "How dare you?" It's like,
yeah,
what? You know? There was a moment where, as I was watching these brilliant performances, I was trying to figure out, where are we going? What is the purpose? Because, again, because everything is kind of happening very fast with Leo. Just that moment of being rejected by Mark led him to self-discovery.
Yeah.
And, you know, even when Marlena was like, thought we would work it out in therapy for a little while before you go and have that conversation.
Totally Leo jumped the gun.
Yeah. And so, yeah, during that, I was just like, did we need this now? Could this have been something that was later? Like, I wasn't sure of where we were going with this. But I will say, and this is very relatable, and it kind of hurt me to my heart when, you know, he was going through everything that he was going through about the visit with his mom, and Dr. Mark came up and they were having a conversation, and he was being very nice and consoling. He gave him the hanky and everything like that. And the conversation about that they had previously came back up, and he was like, oh well, you said you weren't gay, and he was just like, oh, I said that, and I was like, nope, nope, no. We are not about to do this. We are not about to speculate whether you are or you're not. You said you were not. Don't try to act like you did not say you were not gay.
Tony, I immediately thought of you when that happened. Well, first I thought, like, I knew it. I called it. I called it. He's not exactly straight, even though he said he was straight. And then I immediately thought of you, Tony. I was like, Tony's going to have a field day with this one. He is not here for a 30-something coming out story. I don't know why, but it bothers him so. But
it's not that. Like if he wants to come out, great. What bothers me is you said specifically when asked if you were gay, you said, I'm not gay.
Why would he say he's gay, though? If he's closeted, he's not going to say I'm gay to the flamboyant gay guy who's hitting on him.
That's fine. But then
when
they're sitting there, don't be like, oh, I said that? Because then again, like Leo, I was like,
yeah,
you did. But wait, are you not? Because I have had that happen. I have had someone make statements of like, and I'm just like, it bothers me so much.
Yeah.
If you want to be straight, if you are closeted, just stick with the story. Just stick with the story. Don't have any intuitions or innuendos. Nothing. Just stick with your story. Because then
or at the very least, don't make not make advances, but don't give out signals.
Right. Nothing.
Yeah.
Don't do nothing. Be like Whitney. I have nothing. Because then he was on the phone and he was like, oh, I was on the phone with my girlfriend. It's like, you just sat over there and said, oh, did I say I wasn't gay? Like,
we in Pride Month. Don't be playing games.
Like a famous boy band said, quit playing games with my heart.
I don't mind this. I mean, whatever. I'm like, if it's done well, it's like I give him a little more grace than, some Machiavellian plan that he's toying with someone.
He don't get no grace from me. You say you're not gay, stick to it. If you closeted, then fine. Then let me discover it later. But don't be dropping no signal like, oh, did I say I wasn't gay? You said you wasn't gay.
But you
said that.
I think you wasn't. It also came at the end when he saw sort of a very different side of Leo and was sort of not getting closer to him per se, but sort of they were sharing a moment there, even if they're not that close yet.
Great. I'm so glad that he saw the softer side of Sears. However, you had already stated that you are not gay. So I don't need you to insinuate that you are now not, only to then go back to the original story and say that you are. Okay? Because Leo asked all the questions. He said, are you gay? Are you bi-curious? Like, what is the tea? Oh. You couldn't answer it because then here comes Chanel with her miscarriage. And then now when we cut back to you on the phone talking to your girlfriend.
So Tony, is this about Leo and Mark or Tony and someone else?
We are talking about the award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives, all right? It has nothing to do with me. I am just saying. I would be that friend off to the side. I know he used to do things for you, but what has he done for you lately?
Oh, God.
I am annoyed, Dylan. I am annoyed.
For the record, straight people hate these games too.
Well, have you told somebody? Has someone told you I'm gay and then say, "Oh no, I'm not gay"?
No, not out and out, but it's the mixed signals.
Yeah.
It's not even like you don't even need to say it, but it's the mixed signals portion.
Mhm.
Why are you doing that? Why can't everybody just say what they need to say and be done with it? Why you got to play it? It's not necessary.
Anyway, that has been your week of days. We are going to go on
Oh.
to our favorite part of the show, which are our segments. Oh, sorry. Let me do that some more justice. Well, y'all, that was it. That was your week of days. And now we're going into our favorite part of the show, which are our segments. And we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official
No.
3 Snaps Award.
Oh snap! Oh snap!
Now, listen, hands down, I like sass, I like things, I like cat fights, I like slaps, but sometimes you just get a good performance. So my 3 Snaps Award goes to Carson Boatman and Raven Bowens, because when I tell you they had us caught up in all the emotions this week over that baby, and they did a stellar job. So y'all each get 1.5 snaps, but in total, you get Tony's official. Got to do a double for them. 3 Snaps Award.
Oh snap!
Oh, let me move that. And of course, we don't have caption that. Y'all know Michael Madison here. But what we do have is
Those were the days.
All right, I am taking you back to June 27, 2005, where we were reunited, when God, I forgot his name. Billy Warlock returned to Days as Frankie Brady after a 14-year absence. He left in the early 90s. I love this period. I love Frankie Brady. This was when he came back to the show, and Max sort of followed soon after, but he came back to the show. He reconnected with Jennifer. They were engaged. They were about to get married until, of course, Jack came back into the picture. But I feel like the show misses someone like his character, and I wish we got another round of him coming back. So yeah, when Frankie Brady was on the show, Billy Warlock, yeah, fingers crossed he comes back soon. Yeah, that was February, June 27, 2005.
Were the days.
my bad. I started playing it before you were done. And now it's time for It's a Gift.
And this week's It's a Gift goes to Eric Brady, minding his business, just taking in the scenery. But I'm still gonna get my cake.
That cake looks so good.
No, that is
That's
a proper piece of cake. Like that is a actual, yeah.
That's like Tony with the pie.
Right.
Like
It sure
I'm
is.
like I'm not gonna waste this dessert, but I'm still gonna watch.
Right.
You're right. And that was It's a Gift. And now it's time for News and Gossip.
Starting off, it is graduation season, so we have some congratulations to some graduates, or specifically children of some of our favorite stars who are graduating either high school or college. And we are starting off with a big congrats to Christian Alfonso's son, Jack, pictured here, graduated from Boston College. So big congratulations to him. There's Christian and some of her family there at the graduation. Then next up, we have Allison Sweeney and her husband, Dave Savoy. Congratulations on their son, Ben, who graduated actually high school. And just to give you guys some context and make you feel old, this is the pregnancy that brought the Stan storyline. So this is the pregnancy where Allison went on maternity leave. Hence, we got the brilliance, the unparalleled Stan storyline that will go down as one of Days' best. And yeah, so just to give you some context here, that was literally 18, almost 19 years ago. So big congratulations to her son Ben graduating high school. And last but not least, we have two of our favorites, Eric Martzoff and his lovely wife, Lisa. Their twins, Chase and Mason, are graduating high school. If you follow their social media, they are consummate athletes and always showing them the big water polo players. And if you follow them, they are on, I believe, a family vacation. They just got back where they documented sort of their sort of fun in the sun before the kids go off to college this fall. So yeah, big congrats to Chase and Mason. And you could also see them in our interview that we did with them for the Daytime Emmys. They were a part of that too. So go check it out after the show.
I just have to wonder, because you know that at each of these graduations, somebody watches Days of Our Lives.
Oh, of course.
Can you imagine being there for someone's graduation? Hope? Like, I wonder if that
Andy,
happened.
yeah.
Danny, Brady. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I also think that would be funny. All right.
All right. Next up, we have a new interview from the locker room. This one includes Day's own very own Greg Ricart. This is in honor of Pride Month. So Greg joined actors Adam Huss and Adam Bucci on the locker room to discuss LGBTQ plus visibility and representation in the media / soap world, as well as some of the challenges they still face. If you aren't aware, Adam Huss is actually on a guest starring role on General Hospital. So you can follow that interview with Hope on the locker room right now.
Yes, next up we have a few reminders, starting off with Star Image Entertainment. They are continuing their cocktail Zoom series. This newest one, or a couple new ones we have. This one is Greg and Peter. Greg and Peter Corte, of course, reuniting for Zoom on Sunday, July 7th. So yeah, that's latest one. The next one is a birthday one. This one is going to be Susan Seaforth Hayes and Eric Martzoff. Come join them on this sort of special birthday cocktail Zoom where they will be celebrating their birthdays sort of together in this one on July 14th, which is really sweet. And then, of course, we have our Hot Men of Nashville that we've been promoting, again, happening September 28th to 29th with Eric Martzoff headlining it. Of course, Paul Telfer, Carson Boatman, Brandy Beamer, and Rob Wilson. And then last week we told you the update that Carson Boatman and Scott Reeves, Melissa Reeves' husband, they are going to do a separate show part of this weekend, but on Sunday. They're going to do an acoustic sort of concert thing on Sunday morning of that weekend. So all tickets and information to each of these events. And you can also, in addition to the Hot Men of Nashville, you can also do the separate one with Carson and Scott Reeves. If you just wanted to do that one and can't do the whole weekend. But yes, all tickets and information for all these events, you can go to eventbrite.ca/Star Image Entertainment. Next up, we have, what is next? We have Day Players. Yes, we told you they've added some new dates for both North Carolina and Virginia Beach. And they've added those private dinners, of course, to New York and New Jersey. And keep an eye out for them, more to come. All tickets and information on thedayplayersband.com. But also, again, follow their social medias. A lot of times they'll give immediate instant updates. Like sort of they sign the contract, someone's on there sort of promoting like new date alert. Or if they're doing, again, one of those private dinners that they've been adding, check out. Yeah, be on the lookout for those too. Yeah, next up, we have Samantha and Friends. We've been telling you about their two fan events they have going on. The first one is the Golden Age of Hollywood. That one is this year, September 14th and 15th. And the next one that they've added is the Winter Wonderland one. That one is actually going to be next year, the weekend of May 3rd and May 4th. And they've added the newest one with this one. They've added Ari Zucker to that one. So tickets and information, you can go to samanthafriends.org. And last but not least, we have a new one. This one is for Camp Dream. It's an organization for kids with physical and developmental disabilities. This one they are doing is titled Soaps in the South. It is taking place October 5th through the 6th of this year. I'll take it, and you can see it's Patricia Darbo and Greg Vaughn, in addition to Courtney Hope and James Hyde so far. And I believe they are doing a special sort of memoriam section to Johnny Wagner, who passed away recently. All tickets and information, you go to campdreamga.org. Yeah.
Oh,
That's it's like
my bad.
but
And that was news and gossip. All right, and now it's time to find out what's coming up on this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Here it is.
You're free! How wonderful!
Not feeling a DJ.
Freedom 1.
I want to feel nothing against my body. Nothing but you.
Freedom Lost.
You want to send Tate there for the summer?
Out of Holly's orbit.
Seriously?
You're going whether you like it or not.
How would you feel about running away together?
And trapped deep inside him
No one will ever see Everett again.
Let him out, you bastard!
is the answer
I can help you solve a crime.
to a mystery.
It's nothing too serious. Just a murder.
Days of Our Lives.
Well, all right. It's about to heat up, y'all. It is about to heat up. Okay. Well, y'all make sure y'all tune in, and we'll be back here to give you a full dish of this coming week's episodes of Days of Our Lives. But before we head out, Justin Lee Hareld, where can they find you?
find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
And make sure you go show some love to Michael Mattis at ML Mattis. And you can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. And don't forget, you can find all of us at Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. And also, don't forget, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and go find us where all podcasts can be found. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another ravishing Dishin Days. We will be back next week where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Until then, hope you guys have a wonderful and safe week. Happy 4th of July. I hope you celebrate with a hot dog.
Keep
or a
those pets
hamburger.
inside.
Actually, just don't do fireworks. That way, you won't scare pets.
You know where we live, right?
Well, that too. Have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.